Okay, viewers, so I want to go through this while it's still fresh in my mind. I just had a series of events that involved some pretty interesting sounds. Uh, I've said throughout the summer, as I have at other times as well, that it's important for me to document the quiet times because it sort of accents the strangeness of other activities or, observations that I'm making out here. And it's definitely been a quiet summer. I think the dryness, the drought, the lack of forage has, and probably also increased logging activity has played into them not being around so much. But I just noticed today finally the red huckleberries are out and the blackberries are definitely out. So they frequently seem to come down here towards the river in the early part of the fall, late summer, early fall. Try to beat us to the deer. Anyway, so I pulled up, parked the vehicle, got out, and I mean, I make videos about Bigfoot. So when I get here, I'm always hoping to, hey, maybe Bigfoot left me a bone or whatever, something like this. Walk around the trailer. Now, of course, there's nothing. And I'm like, yeah, I guess they're just, you know, still not around for whatever reason. And I'm always going through in my mind, like, what those reasons could be. And I go back um, to the car, which I had parked just a little ways away on the other side of the lot by the tree line. And all of a sudden, I just started hearing all of this banging. Um, I'm not going to say that particular noise sounded like wood knocking. It sounded almost artificial, metallic. I don't really know. But it was very strange. And at first I thought, oh, it's a bear. And then I thought, well, that's such a ridiculously weird sound. How on earth could that be a bear? And then I sat down and I'm actually, taking some video of it and it was still making the noise. It wasn't as intense as it was when I was like actually standing right um, next to the tree line, like when I heard it outside at first. And then I'm like, oh, because I never know when I hear this stuff, is it, what kind of wild animal is it? I'm just going to get inside real quick. Obviously, I spooked something when I got up here today. So that happens. And then, I shoot a little video of it and I go back out and I'm like shooting like a context video, like down into the woods. At that point, it kind of seemed to have quieted down enough to where I felt comfortable going back to the edge of the woods. Um, and then, like, I sat down and I reviewed the footage and I heard it further down, like it was making its way over to the adjacent valley. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of crazy. And then I could hear it actually travel all the way up the valley, making this noise. Various types of noises that were kind of went from wood banging to this weird, almost like clanking sound, but sort of deep. It was weird. Um, I don't think it was trees creaking. It didn't sound anything like that. I have no idea what animal would make that kind of sound. Um, One thing that goes through my mind, so a couple things real quick. I've had this experience right in that exact same spot before quite a few years ago. Um, And when you hear these sounds, like these knocking or noises or whatever, that obviously aren't just like a normal animal, um, it feels like, oh, it's got to be a person because it feels so artificial. And so you're like, oh, that's got to be, somebody doing construction or something, even though it's way down in the woods or it's like right there in the woods. But it's far enough away you can't see anything or whatever. But it's right there in the woods, and you know that there's nothing there. There's no people there working on a garage or something. Um, so I've had that experience before, and I've also had the experience where one time the neighbor guy came up unexpected and walked onto the property. He told me this later, and he had heard something along that same valley over there was like making wood knocking sounds when he came down in here. So this isn't completely out of line with what myself and other people have experienced here, um, but it was just, yeah, it was kind of like, all I'm thinking is, oh, there's no bones, there's no this, there's no that, nothing's been going on, nothing's around. And then I hear the sound, because like I say, if it was just over there in that corner, I could probably fool myself into thinking it was like someone way down on the road. If it was just up there, I could fool myself into thinking, oh, it was just the neighbors up there. If it was just in between, I don't know. But I heard it all the way from right here, close up, where something was down here in the area of the lot, down in the tree line, and moved its way up and let me know all the way up to this other area where years ago, the one of the other neighbor guys used to tell me he would hear wood knocks. So I'm trying to process all this and figure it out. It's definitely pretty creepy, but I wanted to kind of summarize everything and just kind of how I feel in the middle of some of these things, like the thoughts that are running through my mind. Like, yeah, at first you think it's a bear, then you think that doesn't make sense, then you think it's a human, that doesn't make sense. But all right, well, thank you for tuning in.